as well. They take good water, mix it up with milk for a good start, and shoot it into the well to force out the gas. Wastewater gets stored to eventually dispose. All good water.
So keep the distance from the officers, guys. Just keep walking nicely down. That's it, keep going. Nice gap. Don't slow the pace, guys. Keep it going.
We're going to keep walking.
Keep the pace, guys.
On that treadmill of life.
Keep that pace.
Did you get one of Neil?
There you go, mate. Take it off.
Come on.
It's going, guys. The brother was watching me. I thought it was going to go in.
Nice, isn't it?
Yeah.
Keep walking, right? Come on.
Yeah. I look forward to it's just protocol, isn't it?
That's it, keep it going, guys. Keep the pace going.
I thought we were just moving slowly.
Yeah.
We are
Just keep moving back for me. Maintain a distance between yourself and you. At the rate that we're moving. At the rate that we're moving.
You will be arrested.
Keep the gap between the
Yeah, I'm asking you to move forward for me. So that I'm not raising your feet. Just keep going.
You really speeded up things.
I'm not speeding up at all. At the same pace that I've been doing all the time. I'm asking you to move ahead of me and maintain a distance between myself and you.
pushing backwards. Keep
I
going
am
this way.
moving. I am moving.
Turn around.
Moving ahead of me. Maintain a distance between you and me.
Keep that gap, everyone. Keep it going.
Moving ahead of me.
I am
So you maintain the gap between you and me.
Can you please?
I am moving.
This is slower.
Free planet!
Keep it going.
Free
Keep moving.
planet! Free planet!
Going between the officers.
Free Sussex. Free Sussex.
You need to move ahead.
Why are you tripping me? I'm moving. Explain numerous times why I'm free Sussex. Free Sussex. Am I breaking? What law am I breaking? I'm moving.
Down the road! Look at us!
They are pushing. Get off my wrist. They are pushing my wrist. That's my hand in my back. Get off my wrist.
Look at the pace you're doing. You're still doing another
Ow! Why is she hurting my wrist?
Keep moving ahead.
I'm moving.
We're going to slow you down.
Fairly, this is 5 minutes. Just started. 5 minutes.
Keep moving backwards. At the moment you're not
This is fine. Look at it on the camera.
This is no distance between us and you at all.
Yeah, so you're not marching as the thing, you're just pushing his bike out.
I am moving backwards.
In order to maintain the
Again,
distance.
fails to respect our right to protest as established over many times.
Disrespected our right to protest. Completely disrespected. Tell me what law I'm breaking.
The officers. Keep the gap between the officers.
I am moving back.
It's quicker than us.
At a rate that you dictated. At a rate that you have dictated. So this is not a right to protest, is it?
It's not a slow process.
I'm out of breath. You have put
You're not going anything.
any of the lines that I have created.
It's the same as ours. There wouldn't be
Tiny slower than when you flood march. Tiny bit slower than you flood It's like spraying poison.
It's accommodated, don't they? It's a
So
compromise
that
between these two.
they can then turn around and go, oh, you it's the same thing.
That's not
Oh, so technically, yes.
There's what you're like.
Oh my God! If you believe what you're saying, you believe what of course it's not. As I explained, obviously if it's of course they did. As I explained in our conversation, obviously if it's vastly slower than the norm over the last 2 weeks, then we feel that our right to protest has been abused. The trust that has emerged, the reason.
Speed limit set.
Of course, and if the speed limit is being set by definition by the officers who are pushing and dictating the pace, if the speed limit that they set is vastly faster than the norm over the last 2 weeks, you're not keeping up your end of the bargain. So for you to be annoyed with me because people are leaning back.
Can we come right up to the road?
You've got plenty of time, I'm sure, between this and the next lorry. Go and talk. Go look at your man who's been recording it. Tell me how long that took to get around the road.
Slow down. Do you know what he was saying? He said, well, we slowed it down last time and people were pushing into it.
And it was nowhere near the norm over the last 2 weeks, as we talked about in discussion. Obviously, that's the basis on which our reasonable expectations fall. So technically, if this were a legal case, that would be an argument.
I'm sorry, that was about a third of the speed of the one before.
Yes, so exactly. So you massively increased it before and then slightly reduced it.
was on the one before.
Okay, then feed that back into me.
Of course I'm feeding that back to me.
In a sensible way afterwards, rather than having the people in that front line pushing against the officers.
Which they have every right to do. We have a reasonable expectation that we're going to go roughly the speed that we've been over the last couple of weeks.
If you say you have every right to do that, that's fine. I can't argue with
because you are pushing into it. It's your choice to push us down the street.
We will obviously have to do what we feel is appropriate in the speed sense.
Sure, and if it's nothing like...
and that is slow, like it was then.
That wasn't slow. That's nothing like the norm over the last 2 weeks.
You're gonna sort of want me to say it's going to be... Like
roughly, look at the roughly 20 minutes or something like that.
What I can
because 20 minutes is the short end of what we've been doing with your consent over 2 weeks.
It will be...
You understand that, don't you, lady?
No, hold on a second. What I can say
if it's vastly slower than the norm over the last 2 weeks, we feel that our reasonable expectations are being abused. I'm being reasonable to you. The fact that he's turned around when I'm frustrated again and he's being annoyed with me. And as I've explained, if it's technically slower than the last time that you shoved us down the street, come on, you know that's not. If it's not going at roughly the speed that it's got before, at the short end. So I mean, you've just come to so roughly speaking, the journeys of the lorries have taken between about 20 minutes at the shortest end and 20 minutes at the longest end. So you're pushing us down. We're going down at this pace.
Maintain the gap, it's slower. I can't see anyone... No. That was so much slower. They moved it right down. But
we're talking like 5-6 minutes to get from there to there and in the gate.
Yeah. But there's no way we can sit there and say we're going to agree to 30
but you come to a consensus. If you were to put all of the timings for every walk that we've done,
I've got the timings as well.
That doesn't mean anything.
It does. It means it's got to mean something because there's some.
It does. It means that your hour ahead is. It means that your hour ahead.
They are in a rush for what they need.
What it means.
You have been told by them to speed up.
We will allow.
Well, why today are you pushing us so much faster?
Because we didn't accept that yesterday we could allow the road to be closed for 45 minutes close. And that's what happened. So the commanders basically sat there and gone, right, that road was closed for 45 minutes. That is too much disruption to the local community. Not the Balcombe residents, the local community generally on using this road. So he has decreed.
So it's push everyone.
No, he has decreed that we will have to go down the road quicker. Right? So he said,
but to go from 45 minutes to 5 minutes, that's not
This
fair.
morning, there was absolutely no one standing in front of it. So yes, it came down really quite quick. There's no one there.
Yeah.
Except that, okay. The last one, it came down, not necessarily knowing whether anyone was standing in front of it, and you guys said it was too quick. Okay, so I said to my lot, okay, fair enough. that was quite quick. Can we slow it down? Right? We then slow it down.
Yes, I have timings. It's a case of being responsive.
We have then slowed it down, and then from that slowed down, and then when it is slowed down, what's happened is, kind of, you know, I didn't actually. Funny enough, I didn't actually expect anything different, but we give a bit, and then the front line just took everything they wanted. They said, right, okay, we're going to go backwards and start leaning in and start pushing back. Oh, sorry, I saw.
We've got right to go more slowly than what they tell us.
For once, I just want to say, it's not about the right. It's about, at this time, saying what is a sensible compromise to both of us.
That wasn't.
We slowed it down. You guys weren't happy with that speed, as I kind of thought you wouldn't be. And then there we get this pushing and shoving going on.
Yeah, naturally, because we want to protest at our pace.
You know, the pace you come down at, is dictated by the time at which you get your arrow formation and the pace that moves down at. Okay, if you choose to have that formation, you need to be responsive to whether there's people in the road or not in the road. You need to be responsive to people whether they're
we need to be responsive to the community that's trying to use this road.
Of course.
To the vehicle
I'm not saying otherwise.
Oh, I know you don't agree with it, but to the lawful business.
I'm not saying otherwise. What I'm saying is that in that instance, you're facilitating the track to enter the quadrilla site, which is what you stated. Now, in terms of how much people are engaging in their lawful right to protest, depends on how you move your arrow up and down this road. Is that not correct?
I don't understand. So,
okay.
You're talking about the times?
No, I'm talking about the pace the officers in the arrowhead formation are taking in response to the number of people who are engaging in their lawful right to protest.
Yes.
Okay, so if there are more people, okay, and as they do have a right to move onto the road and move up, okay. Now, if you would wish a space between them, and as you can see, some officers were pushing more than others.
Actually, I don't agree with that, because I'm sorry.
Okay, I've got the footage. So
that's fine. When the pace went right down, and it did go right down, he said, I heard the commander shouting, right, slow down, right, and he said it right at the top there, when there was a couple that just walked in, so they went, whoa, and they slowed down, and then when it started to bunch up again, he said, slow down, okay, so he brought them down to what was a fairly sensible pace. Now, hold on, fairly sensible pace. Now, at that point, if there were still people who weren't happy, okay, what they should have done is maintain the gap, like we'd agreed, which is what's annoying me, maintain the gap, speak through whoever the spokesperson was and say, right, actually we still thought that was a bit quick, right, and I would feed that back. What happened was, as I just knew it would happen, was the front line started to bunch back onto the officers. They maintained that speed. Whether you agree with the speed or not is irrelevant. They maintained a sensible, slow pace. And what happened was, the guys at the front line suddenly started coming back in. And that's not the way to do it, because that is going to bring the protesters into contact.
Okay, but I mean, if you supposed to do in that situation? Well, you know, if you stick a pedometer on it, and actually, you know, if you go and clock, as you can do very easily with the footage,
I know that.
As you can very easily. Can you let me finish? Because I let you finish.
Can I just say one thing?
Okay, sure.
When I speak to my commander, I know that he will say, and this is the issue ultimately, is I'm happy with that pace. I'll ask him. I'll tell him that I always do feedback.
You know, that's fine. But actually, you know, what we can show and what it shows on the footage as well is that after your commander gave the slow down command twice, as I recall, the pace progressively speeded up. I got it on there. I've got it on there. You know,
I was walking backwards all the way, and I didn't feel any change of pace.
I know, because actually you were walking backwards into me. No, sir. You were walking backwards into me. I've got you bumping into me twice. You know,
I checked that.
And again, that's because, you know, you can check how many seconds it takes to move the white lines. They don't move. Okay, so I can see when they're smoothing down,
I'm more than happy.
speeding up,
I know
and
that
slowing
officers
down.
don't tend to go fast or slow on their own volition. They just stay the same.
Yeah, but they also can progressively speed up. If you know anything about Roman history and Roman tactics, then you're aware that
can you
that's
vouch for every person in that protest line that they weren't doing a different pace?
I mean, what I can tell you is what I've got on camera. What I can see is that when people were being pushed, that their pace would change when people, and that distance that you said.
Getting pushed.
Sorry?
Who's pushing who? I can see the police officers getting pushed.
By who?
Okay.
By the front line.
What, hands? Because as soon as I put hands on you,
this
you arrest me.
This is where it's like,
Yeah.
oh, hands or not hands. It doesn't matter if I do that. If I'm doing that to you, and
When you're
pushing
linked
over-
arms, you can't physically push.
I know, and it's a tactic. I accept that. It's a tactic to
It's
say,
not, it's
look,
not that,
I
but
haven't got any hands. I haven't got any hands.
sir,
All right, okay, that's fine.
how can you shoulder
That's why I do
somebody?
that.
How can you shoulder somebody when you're linking arms with them?
What that does mean
I don't
is
get
that
what you're
someone
saying,
next
that
to
makes
you
no
can
sense.
dictate your pace, unfortunately. Right, so it might be muddy, say, as to who's doing what. But at some point, on the right-hand side there was a whole bunch of people pushing right back into the officers, and I'm standing there next to it, going, the officers are actually just walking down. Right, the pace is set, and suddenly they decided to go back.
Okay, now what's that? What do you do when that happens?
Well, if we're walking down the road, we're going to have to obviously put our hands there. And obviously,
Shouldn't you be responsive to the situation, correct?
Depends, but yes.
Well, you're not going to respond to the situation, have a preordained agenda. Either you're responsive to the situation or you have a prearranged
That's down to the
program.
commander to say slower or quicker.
Okay.
Well, then your commander, please, can you feed back to him that
I'll
we
feed it
want
back to
to
him,
walk
but-
slower than that. We want to.
We
We
want
are
to
here
walk-
to slow
we want
you
to-
down.
We want, yeah, I know, I
That's
said that.
what we do.
But can I just say as well, that is slowed down.
Then
Normally,
we
when it
we want
drives,
to make it.
no, but when it drives on that road, you do realise it would normally be going on there about 40 miles an hour.
Absolutely.
Okay?
And the reason we're protesting is we want it to make it as slow as possible to cost
No,
them as
we
much time
understand
as
that.
possible.
We understand that. We do understand
Naturally,
that.
I know
we
you understand that.
But
you're
there
not
is a-
listening to us,
there is a
and your
halfway.
commander's not listening to us.
If the commander
He
would
did
like to
listen
go.
because he made it
No,
slower.
he did not make it any slower. What are we talking?
He did.
If it took 5 minutes for the one earlier, and it took 7 minutes for this one,
Actually, over that stretch of road, that's a reasonably slow pace. Funny enough, but it is.
Over
Actually,
100
you doing your maths there, you work it out. I bet you that's a hell of a difference in speed.
well,
If you added a minute to the walk,
compared to the 20-minute average norm that we've been expecting
but
over
we're
the
not
last 2 weeks,
right. But we're not
that's a joke.
right. But we're not going to sit there. And I've said it to everyone 100 times. I'm not going to sit there and set a 20-minute or a 15-minute because I know what will happen tomorrow. Another commander will come in or whatever, or someone else will be different down here, and that pace will be different. And you guys will go, hang on a minute, we've said 20 minutes, and we've gone to 18, right? And we'll be going, and you'll be.
If it was 18 minutes, you probably wouldn't be too fast.
No,
but it's not 18 minutes, it's 6.
I don't necessarily think you would be unfussed or not fussed.
Well, that's your own opinion, but I mean, the only way you can find out.
I've seen it on a few times when we've gone marginally quicker. It's like, oh my goodness, that's terrible.
You know, that's not really answering the question, is
So
it?
where do
That's
we
just
go
your
from here
opinion, and
now?
that's, you know, that's not really helpful to move the conversation forward, is that?
So from here, what can you do to help us?
I'm going to feed back what you said. I always do feed back what you said to the commander here, right? But I'm giving you the sort of I think probably the reasonable answer that he will say is that's about as slow as he wants it to go. All right, so I will feed it back.
So in our power, what else can we do? Because that's not what we are used to.
But there is no, I'm sorry, there is no way that we can sit there and give you an accepted thing.
So why change it so dramatically? This is what we're struggling with, right?
Primarily this morning, as I said to you before, because there was no one in front of it. We can't protest it ourselves.
No, and we gave you the option to walk as fast as you wanted, and you did, brilliant. Okay. However, when we are in the roads, okay,
That's what I'm saying,
we will
about
slow it
responsive
down.
policing.
We will slow it. Yeah, we did.
Being responsive to the
Slow it
situation.
down. The third lorry was much slower.
Yeah.
That one was slower again.
Yeah, and sometimes, you know, I've seen lorries
How
go.
slow do we go? I
I've-
suspect until we're back to this. And if it's back to that, it won't happen. Another commander won't happen. Because you guys will slow it down and slow it down and slow it down. Because quite rightly what you say is that you want to delay it every minute counts. I know. But unfortunately, that, as Lilius has
and you also have to
demonstrated
respect our right to want to do whatever